What's up, guys? This is Ray, and welcome to Asian Filmist. And I have another review of a thriller for you guys today. And this thriller comes from Japan, and the movie is called Confessions. Confessions is a 2010 film originally directed by Nakashima Tetsuya, and it's an adaptation of a novel. And this movie stars Matsu Takako, who is a wonderful actress. And just a little bit of trivia before we start: she is the Japanese voice actress of Elsa in the Japanese dub of Frozen. So if you've seen Frozen and you've seen this movie, just try to put those two pieces together, and yeah, it's a little discomforting. I originally watched Confessions when I was still teaching English here in Japan. It was close to the beginning of my stay here in Japan, and I remember those of us English teachers who had watched this film, we kind of had to take a step back and kind of question whether we wanted to drink school milk during school lunchtime ever again. I won't get touched too much into detail about that, but this movie follows the story of a high school teacher by the name of Moriguchi Sensei, and her daughter gets killed. As a matter of fact, the daughter gets killed by two of the students that she takes charge of. And the story is told through different points of view. It's split up into different chapters, each told from the points of view of different characters. And all the points of view work together to tell bits and pieces of a larger story. And of course, some of the story involves vengeance from Moriguchi Sensei against the culprits. Some of it is vengeance from the culprits against basically the entire world, the people who cause them to act the way they do. So I think it's a simple story, but there are a lot of moving parts that make this film engaging as all hell. Now, for the positives, Matsu Takako's performance is amazing. She has a very commanding performance, especially in the first 30 minutes of the film. The first 30 minutes, I think it's meant to feel like the introductory 5 or 10 minutes a film would normally have, but the whole entire thing takes 30 minutes long. And I don't think it's really hard to notice the passage of time as Matsu Takako is going on. And for the majority of the time, for the majority of the 30 minutes, she's walking around the classroom from corner to corner, up and down the aisles, just talking to her students, telling the story of how her daughter gets killed, how she knows who the culprits are, and she kind of exposes who the culprits are without even naming them. All the students, they're kind of talking among themselves, they're whispering, they're texting each other like, oh, is it him? Is it him? And just the way just the way Matsu Takako goes about, she's kind of stoic. Well, not really stoic. She's kind of emotionless and very icy. And even though she's speaking mostly in this monotone kind of way, you just can't help but feel that she just commands your attention, and she just takes it, and your attention just doesn't leave her the whole entire time. And even though, as I said, even though in the first 30 minutes the identity of the killers of her daughter are revealed, the story doesn't end from there. It just keeps going, and you just can't help but stay on the edge of your seat, and you'll want to know how the story concludes. I mean, it's really hard to say when because Moriguchi Sensei, she says that she wants to kill these bratty kids, but she can't, because there's going to be punishment to be had. So she's trying to create this plan where she can get vengeance without actually doing them any harm. And the way everything plays out, damn. So the characters are intriguing, they're compelling, they're deep, they're very well written, and there is not one main character who's just a throwaway character. Everyone has an important piece to this whole entire story. And it's because of these strong characters that the story stays engaging from beginning to end. And from a technical standpoint, I think this film is stunning. I mean, it's wonderfully shot, and the camera tricks utilized. It uses a lot of different speeds to kind of set its mood. Anything from slow motion to just being sped up. The way that everything is edited together, it was fantastic. And not only that, but the sound editing, the music and the sound editing, it creates this they create this really unsettling atmosphere that will make you uncomfortable when it wants you to. And and then you let your guard down when some happy music starts playing, and then suddenly you're snapped back in to the story, and you know everything's not cool. But also from a technical standpoint, I think the way every shot was lit, like the movie's use of lighting, was very interesting. I mean, for the most part, the story is shot in the dark. Most of the characters are in extremely dim settings, but you can still see them as almost as clear as day. And if they're not in this dim setting or dim room, they're kind of almost blacked out to the point that they become silhouettes. And even though most of the film seems like it's set in the dark, I still felt that it was clear as day the whole way through, and it all helped create this really unsettling atmosphere that was perfect for the narrative of this story. And the final act and the payoff, it was well worth all the build-up. There was so much build-up leading up to it, and the way it plays out, I couldn't have it any other way. It was great. And as far as negatives I have to say about Confessions, absolutely nothing. It's one of my favorite Japanese movies to date. And just the fact that I saw this movie when I was still a teacher, when I was still teaching English, that kind of hit me in a different way when I first saw this movie. And, I think I would have enjoyed this movie regardless if I was teaching English, because it's just a good movie. But I think because I could kind of connect with Moriguchi Sensei in a way, as profession-wise, not backstory-wise, but because I kind of connect with the setting, I think that made it closer to home. And do I recommend this movie? Yes, of course I do. If you're a fan of thrillers, if you're a fan of kind of uncomfortable settings. I mean, this is a teacher who wants revenge against students. I mean, I think you don't get many of those types of stories today. And on top of that, you don't get many stories like that done well. This is one of those movies that is done extremely well. And, and I love the director's work, Nakashima Tetsuya. If you haven't seen his other movies, like The World of Kaneko, this is a good place to start. And I think if you watch this movie, you'll definitely become a fan of Nakashima. And watching this movie will definitely trigger all sorts of unsettling and uncomfortable feelings. And it's very subtle with the approach. It's not loud and in your face. And despite all that, it will still keep you drawn in to the very end with goosebumps. I'm telling you. Please watch this movie. And so yes, those are my thoughts on Confessions. What did you guys think, or what kind of questions did you guys have? Let me know in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And by all means, please support Asian Filmless on Patreon. It really helps the channel a lot. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again in the next video. Take it easy.